16, 16, 16. I got 10.
I played the game wrong. I exploited the misinterpretation of the rules, and I had a blast.
Yoink, blah, tickety tick. Oh. Yoink, blah, tickety tick. Oh. Yoink, blah, tickety tick. Oh.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the G3 Boardroom's recap of our trip to GenCon. This is part 1 in our 11-part series on our recap of GenCon because some people like to talk a lot.
I don't know who these people are. That doesn't sound like anything I would do.
These guys, it's always
now.
It's always game this or game that. Your constant insults are doing irreparable damage to my psyche, you know, blah, blah, blah.
That means I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was my first time at GenCon. It was great. It was one of those it was, I don't know, more of a pilgrimage than a vacation, I guess. It was at least a active vacation.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, you know, people, you know, I get back from vacation and everyone's like, you know, oh, you're all rested up and ready to go. And I'm like, I'm tired, man.
Clearly, you've never been to GenCon. You found it relaxing.
Yeah, I mean, it was emotionally refreshing. Physically, I mean, come on.
Physically taxing.
Sort of. There was a lot of sitting.
Taxing.
You know,
it was physically taxing.
It was like 15-hour days. It's tiring.
Wow.
Dealing with you is tiring.
Wow.
Well, that brings me to my last one, which was intellectually, it was draining. It was like I had nothing left in my brain tank at the end of this. Just
insert your joke there.
Never very full.
Yeah, don't they say you're supposed to keep your tank half empty at all times?
I don't know.
I'm more of an optimist. I like to keep it half full.
Keep that full, right? I mean, just learning the games, and I'm the kind of person that takes a little bit longer and a little bit more thought when learning a new game, and just to get thrown in, you know, and it was fun though. Huge crowd. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I think the website said like 50,000 people.
I think they got to 60.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Say, yeah. Ironically, yeah, it's huge, but it's actually a little bit of a dip over the last few years. So,
I mean, you can see, you know, I shot some video of some of the crowds, and I mean, the convention center in Indiana is a great place for this because it did not feel like that many people because it was just so huge. I mean, the Lucas Oil Stadium, and just there were so many big, huge, like, you know, display and event area. I don't even want to say ballroom because that makes it seem too small. It's just immense.
Well, you got to figure. I mean, you look at Lucas Oil Stadium, you could probably fit, I'd say, 3 or 4 of those football fields inside the convention center at least.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
2 of them. Yeah.
And I was surprised. I mean, the convention center, you know, it's stupid to talk about mundane things like this, but I mean, the temperature in there was consistent and it was fine. I was not hot or cold the whole time. You know, I go to work and I'm in this small little building and it's like boiling hot in this area and freezing cold in this area, and everyone's like, "Oh, there's nothing we can do." Well,
apparently there is.
Someone can, you know, and it was you know, relatively clean and with a constant stream of people, you know, going into the restrooms. There was, you know, paper towel, there was soap, you know, and it just, I've been to so many places where, you know, after it turns into Fire Island after, you know, like, you know, 3 hours of the event.
Watch mankind eat itself, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, kudos to the people that were working there and that were running it. Yeah, that it was went very well.
I agree. You know, these guys do a really good job. They've been doing it for years. They've been doing it in the same place for years, so they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They get people through. There's a lot of people, but it very seldom feels like it's so overly crowded that you can't move or do anything. So people do a pretty good job of getting from one place to another, and they do a nice job setting up. You know, one of the halls is dedicated to almost purely gaming. The other hall is dedicated to almost purely, you know, merchandise and booths and stuff like that. They do a very nice job, and I was comfortable with the temperature as well. You know, I'm very particular about my temperature, so
yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Because it was very physically taxing.
It was physically taxing.
There's a lot of sitting.
You know, but also, you know, they do a good job up front with food trucks and stuff like that. You know, they're cycling them through so you have different choices. And I don't want to eat in the conventional. I want something a little bit better than that. Food truck kind of raises the bar a little bit. And then we walk to some local restaurants which are in the area as well. But no, I couldn't have been happier with how it went. But it is draining. It is tiring. And so by the time, I think it was like Saturday evening, I was kind of ready to pack it in. But we had a whole day's worth of stuff on Sunday as well.
Mostly driving.
Mostly driving, but we also had a couple events that we're going to get here too. What do you think, Dave?
Well, this is my second time going. I'm just going to mimic some of the things you guys said. I do like how they have the separate from the vendors to the gaming hall. I also like how they set up the gaming hall. Like at one end, it seems like they have all like the war game miniature area.
All the big.
So that if you really enjoy that stuff, I appreciate it. But it just felt like that takes up so much space. So having it down at the end, it made more sense than having it somewhere in the middle. I think the game companies do a fantastic job of setting up, advertising their games. So it's really easy to find where you're going. If you're looking for a certain company, there's big old banners. Of course, sadly, I think we'll mention one company that had a sad little sign written on a piece of paper, and that was it. That was the only way we could find it. It was just laying on the table. Like,
I
guess they ran out of budget and their money to put up a banner.
I think Jason got a picture of it. So.
But no, I really appreciate it. I do love the fact that I don't know if you've ever been to GenCon, but if you go to GenCon, you need tickets to go to different events. You could actually spend 12, 15 hours a day playing games, and you never need a single ticket.
Yeah.
There's so many places you can go that are just open for gaming.
Yeah.
So if you sign up late, you miss on that early opportunity to register for different events, you still can have an incredible time there and not feel like you just completely...
You just got to relax your standard a little bit. If there's something specific you want to play, you better take it.
Yeah, the new hotness.
If you're just wandering around, then by all means, you can entertain yourself all day.
Yeah, we played a few games.
We just walked up.
Umbrella Academy. We were just standing there, getting our bearings, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Umbrella Academy!" And there's these people that are there, standing, ready, willing, and eager to show you the game. And so we played a few rounds.
I do want to say that out of the three of us, I thought you did the very best at Umbrella Academy. It was a co-op game, but I'm like, man, Jason's really holding it down. He's doing a good job. Yeah. I felt like my guy didn't do much. Your guy did a lot of stuff.
I had like a controller, so I was like, okay, you gotta do this and do this, and hey, take another turn.
You did it well.
Are we jumping the gun? Are we already talking about games?
Well, that was like a walk-up. I think we're going to talk about the ones that we had planned. But we'll get back to that then.
Mostly.
We'll get back to that in part 4 of our series.
11. Wasn't 11 part 2?
Oh, yeah, that's part 4.
Yeah.
You mean like 6 parts just for closing arguments. You want to get into it?
One thing I want to say that I thought was really cool and I don't want to forget about is, I was able to get this lanyard at the last event that we did. And I thought it was really cool because I have a lanyard collection, and one of the guys that was running it, he was wearing these, I think from
Upper Deck.
Upper Deck. They're from Upper Deck, and this was the ones that they were given. And I thought it was really cool. And I told the guy, I'm like, hey, that's a really, really cool lanyard. I got a lanyard collection, and I'd love to, where can I get one of those? And he's like, oh, my boss just gave it to me. And he's like, hey, if you ask me, I like your lanyards better, the ones that you guys got from GenCon. So we just did a swap. I said, here, take mine, and I'll take yours. So.
I think the conversation went, you want to trade? Yeah, okay.
And then as soon as we got in the car, I'm like, which one of you guys is giving me your lanyard?
But yeah, it was pretty cool. That was the Legendary Marvel team event that you were speaking of at the end.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm jumping the gun. Yeah, and I'll get to my only regret at the end too. So
okay, you have one regret?
I do.
Oh, I can't do any critiques right now. I have to wait till the end.
Oh, we can if you have regrets. You can do it now.
No, let's save it to the end. To the end.
We don't know when the end's going to be, but
eventually
we'll save it to the end.
It will be eventually.
What we'll do is we'll forget about it. We'll close out the video, and then we'll post an addendum. Just us crabbing.
That's most of our videos.
How will they know the difference?
How will they know the difference?
That's what the audience.
This one says GenCon on it.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So this was Thursday's lineup. We played Lords of Vaala, which Jennifer was the employee who was teaching us. Thought she did pretty well.
What's the game company?
I don't have it written down. I can't write anything down. You wrote nothing down.
That's the one that was written on the piece of paper.
Oh,
that's why.
We'll look that up.
Later on in the day, we played Cartographers. After that, we sat in on Legendary Matrix, which I didn't even know was going to be there. But then we played Burncycle and Karak. So, what do you guys think of the Lords of Vaala?
That one was kind of cool. I like that one because it was a timed event. We ran out of time, but I was winning. I was like, me and this other guy who was the other guy that we were playing?
Martin.
Martin and I were kind of neck and neck, and I ended up getting like 9 out of 10, and I think he finished with like 8 out of 10 steps to victory.
No video, no proof.
I have photographic proof. Take a look at this picture.
Photos can be doctored.
You'll see.
I thought it was pretty good. To sum it up, 2 people play as dragons, 2 other people play as generals, and you have different actions you can take, different goals you can meet. Everybody plays a card, it goes into a stack, and then the stack comes off in reverse order. So you kind of got to plan out your turn in reverse order.
That was the one.
Yeah, and so that was a really neat mechanic. Overall, I didn't enjoy the game. I enjoyed that mechanic, and I'd like to see that in other games.
Yeah, well, I want to clarify that mechanic. So everyone decides what they want to do, and like you said, they put their cards in a pile, and then you flip that, and then you play them back in reverse order. So if I want to move and then attack and then loot, I have to play my loot card, then when it comes around again, play my attack, then when it comes around, if it comes around again, play my move. So then when it's flipped, it goes in the right order, which is, I like that because the higher value moves you're going to make, you have to wait for more rounds because any person can just say pass at any time and then
no one can put cards in.
Yeah.
And so on immediately.
Yeah. And since Jason was on my immediate right and you passed pretty much every single time, made it difficult for me to get things.
No, I was on your left.
You were wherever was acting before me and caused me distress.
Yes.
What did you think of this one, Dave?
I thought it was a solid game. I don't know if it would ever hit the table with our gaming group.
Absolutely not.
It felt like, again, maybe it was just we only had that simple run through, only 2 hours, but it felt like the dragons definitely had an advantage over the generals. With the idea that if they needed to retreat, they could fly anywhere they wanted on the board. While the generals were forced to just move one space back, and it just felt like they had a distinct advantage when it came to area control. When you're talking about an area control game, you can move anywhere you want on the board at any time during the game. It feels like you have a tactical advantage over somebody else one space at a time.
Martin was a dragon, right? Because I was a general.
Yes. I can see some of that. But the purpose of the generals was area control. The purpose of the dragons was not.
Right, to eat.
Yeah.
But again, the idea, though, is they could fly wherever they want. So
yes. A dragon.
I know. It felt like they had
Why don't you go up? Just go up.
That game, though, was it was 4 players and like 4 players only. So if you had like only 3, then you'd have to have a dummy.
You could play with 3, but you could play with, what do they call it? It was like a faceless player.
Oh, yeah.
Which I thought was a bizarre thing.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from that one, unless you guys have more to say about that.
I will say a critique there. And, it's hard to fault these individuals because they're volunteers and they're giving up their time. But unfortunately, and I'm not trying to throw anybody in the bus, but whoever they had teaching us the game didn't really know the rules at all. And it kind of...
Yeah, there were some struggles there.
It made it difficult for us to get the game going when we couldn't even ask simple questions about the game. And they couldn't give us a straightforward...
There were some struggles there with a couple of games where I realized these companies aren't going to bring in 40, 50 of their employees, so they're hiring this out to a third-party company. And they get a copy of the game, and they're supposed to learn the rules and be able to teach you. But I don't know how many times we encounter people who are like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time playing.
Right. Oh, yeah, there was a couple times where we're playing a game and we're trying to learn, and another teacher is coming up, asking all these questions. Oh, dude, I got to teach next over here.
Yeah, how do you do
this?
And I get it, but those people, unfortunately, and most of these guys did a great job, but some did not. All right, that was a little quibble. That was an end game quibble. All right. Next game we played was Cartographers.
Yes.
Cartographers, I'm going first this time. Cartographers was one of those games that we played, and then we were almost racing each other to purchase the game.
Yes.
Because it was that enjoyable. We had that much fun. And it was the take my money meme. It was like, we're like, where's the booth and how close is it? Because we got to get to something else. Let's go.
Yes. And here's all my money.
I remember Dave actually saying, if you're not buying it, I'm buying it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, no, I'm buying it.
Yeah, right. I mean, we're arguing over who's going to spend the money on this game. And just to break down what this game is, you get a map. The person has a deck. They're drawing what's essentially Tetris pieces you're putting on your map, and different things score. I put up just a slaughter of a score in this game. I brutalized everybody. It's one of those games I just figured it out a turn before everybody else. And so I put up a monster score. You guys did very well, but they didn't win.
Yeah, I mean, Tetris is a good good way. You draw a card, you have two Tetris pieces to choose from, and you get bonuses for choosing one over the other. And what I like about it is it's not really a PvP. We're all PvE, but then we're scoring against each other. So we're all playing the same map with the same pieces, and there's very little. There's the one mechanic where for one round you pass your card and they draw it in. If
a monster is drawn, you pass it to the person on your right or your left, and that person draws a little monster in on your page. And there's certain things that the monsters do. You need a hero to take care of them. But it was just that one little mechanic. And since there's so many cards to draw from, you're not necessarily going to get a monster every round either. So you could go the whole game without getting one at all, in which case you're just drawing out your map. I really like this game. I'm looking forward to playing it.
You don't have to be an artist. It's basically color-coded.
No. The guy next to me, I can't remember his name. He did a beautiful job on his map. He really did.
I thought that was the lady next to him who drew the lady
next to him drew the dragon on his page.
Yeah. It was a shape that went like this, and she drew this dragon. I was like, wow.
It was a really good job, but she also did not win. So
the game was great. My only fear is that the game was so great. It's built so much up in our mind that we may never play it because it's got to be perfect. We have to put on the Luther Vandross and light some candles, and then we can play the game. No.
Anyway,
nothing.
Unless you get something else.
I don't know what you got planned for later, but count me out. Anyway, thoughts on Cartographers there, Dave?
I enjoyed it. I do. It was simple enough that I think it's a game that you could teach to pretty much anybody who's not a big board game enthusiast or hobbyist. I think it has enough variety that when you play the game that you're never going to feel like you're playing the same game over and over again. Mm-hmm. I did like there was an interesting mechanic in the idea that some of the cards, when they came out, you could choose. I'm either going to draw forest, or I'm going to draw water, I'm going to draw plains, or I'm going to draw this. So you had some options. Well, this doesn't quite fit my map. This would work better. So it didn't feel like you were pigeonholed into going one direction. So each person's map, when they're done drawing on their piece of paper, really felt like it was unique to that player, as opposed to everybody's just drawing the same thing, trying to get the most points. So.
Right.
And it's interesting because like I said, I just like it if. It's different if someone beats me and they just got lucky draws. Mm-hmm. He was drawing I could have drawn the exact same map he did, and I didn't.
Yeah.
So.
And to be honest, my key to victory in that game was just that I saw what the last card was. The last card was you're going to score 6 points for every group of 5 forests you have. So I started drawing those on the first.
That's right. You got 90% of your points in the last round.
In the last 2 rounds, I went from minus 5 points to I finished 130 or something insanity.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was a good game though. It's a lot of fun. And the person who taught us that, her name was Jessica. She was excellent. She was very good.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
She was top notch.
She was a lot of fun.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. I believe she was yelling at me on a constant basis, trying to get me to do the wrong thing.
Trying to mess up.
She was actively encouraging me to mess up. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move on from that. We then went and we sat in on Legendary Matrix. I didn't even know Legendary Matrix was going to be there.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously they were pushing it big time. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you walked into the upper deck, I don't even call it a booth. Yeah, they took up several booths, I suppose. And you had to walk through the Matrix to get to that playing area. So it was pretty neat.
Yeah, and like I said, I had no foreknowledge that was going to be there. Mm-hmm. The last time we went, we knew Legendary Bond was going to be there. We're like, we got to play Legendary Bond. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that this was even going to be there. So we sat in on it. We demoed it. It runs off the Legendary machine. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of know what you're getting. You're recruiting, you're attacking. It had some unique Matrix stuff. I thought it was interesting enough. But they also, I didn't care for how the demo went. I realized they're trying to make it more exciting, but we were on the second act and we're fighting things from the third act.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wasn't getting a real feel for it because they deliberately threw some other stuff in there to make it more interesting. Right. I would have rather just played straight up.
Yeah, but that's tough. They have to sort of get you past the mundane, building up.
I like the mundane.
I know, but that's where you get the real sense and feel of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they got this balance that they have to do of giving us a good game experience, but not a complete game experience. And so I mean, yeah, it didn't bother me, but yeah, I didn't feel like, you know, I know what it's like to play the game, you know, 100% afterwards.
Right.
That's
no,
fair.
I think they did enough that to add parts of the game that you would probably never see in the beginning part, obviously, but we would have to play for an hour, a couple hours, maybe even get to the part we were at in the game. But I think it was necessary so they really get a feel for, okay, once you get your engine going in this game, this is the kind of things that can happen, the things you can do with your deck that as you purchase cards and what have you from the legendary mechanics. So
what was also cool about this is while we were sitting there playing this, one of the co-creators, co-designers of the game wandered over and he was chatting with us at the table.
Oh, okay.
And so I was chatting him up. You guys were yelling.
No,
at me
you
for
were
not
chatting
taking
him
my
up.
turn.
I was trying to keep my head above water. And just, what do I do?
I played so much Legendary. I'm playing in my sleep. Jason's over there like, is this the slashes stars?
What again?
But that was cool. He came over and he was talking to us about the game and different things, and I got to ask him a few questions about it. And that's one of the things I really like about GenCon is you can run into these guys and talk to them. You know, and people who are proud of their games want to talk to you about them.
right.
They want to explain and they want to listen to your feedback. And probably not going to change anything, but they want to listen to your feedback.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. Overall, I don't know if I'm going to pick up Legendary Matrix when it finally does release, which they said before the end of the year. From the condition of the demo, I'm saying it's probably next summer. But I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. You know, I've got so much Legendary stuff now that I don't know if I'm going to go for the Matrix or not. We'll see. Maybe that'll be a itch I have to scratch come next year. We'll find out. So I know what'll happen. I'll start getting text messages from Dave. Did you buy it yet? Did you buy it yet?
No.
No. All right. Moving on. Next game we played was Burncycle. Now I have some thoughts on Burncycle.
No, Burncycle. So out of the 4 games we've talked about so far, Cartography, we played a complete game. The other ones we just sort of came in and didn't play the complete game.
Mm-hmm.
And the same is true with this one. We didn't play
Burncycle.
We did not complete it.
We didn't
right.
come close.
Oh yeah. That's right. We just got in the front door and I don't remember it that much.
Burncycle felt like, it's hard to describe it. So we each are playing a different, I guess, AI/robot, android, whatever you want to call it, and it has certain powers. And and there's a different scenario or goal that you're trying to accomplish, and there's several different ones in the game. Mm-hmm. And it felt like there's so much going on, I forgot even what I was trying to accomplish. Because you enter the door, and then you got to worry about the security camera. You got to worry about that computer. And then here's this defense robot coming. There's this defense guy coming. I'm like, okay, so I'm worrying about these 6 other things. But what's my ultimate goal? Oh yeah, I got to do that. Yeah. Every single turn, it just felt like, okay, I'm just going to go through these 4 steps, do these little 4 steps, and then okay, whatever happens, happens. It never felt like I was immersed in the game. It just felt like I had going back old school. Those old geometry proofs that you had to do. If A and B equals C, then C equals A. And it's just like, okay, I got to go through all these steps, but I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm just, because this is what I have to do. I wasn't part of the game. There's too much going on.
There's too many mechanics. What was the purpose of the round thing? Like you have to go in the circle.
Yeah, like bonus cards.
It was like an internet almost. Like you're
I don't think they needed that.
You could get like bonuses out of it to upgrade your guy a little bit more. I thought it was okay, but the problem is we got this great big board, and then that mat is way over there, and it's a small little thing, and the writing on it was so small. You were sitting next to it, and you couldn't read it.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it was like 4-point font.
It's like I see Jason over there like that. It's like, what are you doing? Can't read anything that's on the darn thing.
But it wasn't like the copyright. This was like information you needed to know for the game.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to find this room with this label.
And that was the product. That was the actually finished product. And I'll give them credit. They use high quality materials. Really nice looking game, great artwork, but man, there's a lot going on. It would take good 4 or 5 playthroughs before you felt comfortable enough that you could finally feel immersed in the game, in my opinion.
And it's going to take a couple hours for once you get it to play that game.
Right.
And I think that was the problem there. It felt like we had very limited amount of time with that game. The guy who was helping us play the game, his name was Chris, and he was a nice guy, but he was also behind the 8 ball. He didn't understand a lot of mechanics of the game. We struggled with a few things, so he was looking for him, and he did a nice job looking him up. But unfortunately, I felt like we were on about equal level of understanding for the game, and therefore at the beginning we kind of struggled a little bit.
Makes me think of the old there's a joke. I'm a teacher, and all I got to do is stay 1 chapter ahead of the students.
Right.
That's what I felt like Chris was.
Yeah.
He's like one chapter ahead of
He was a good dude. He was a likable guy, but he was hurting. I could tell he was. And by the end of the convention, I bet he knew the game.
Right, and that's the thing. That's like I said, about 4 or 5 playthroughs, you're like, okay, I get this game now. Now I can maybe feel immersed. But
this one was it was like it was just too much.
Yeah, it was a hype game too. That I don't mean to cut you off. It was a hype game for that weekend, and I knew a lot of people were looking forward to that one. But like I said, the pieces are great, the quality's great, but at $150. That's a hefty price to play.
That's a lot.
See, that was one of the few games that we were
pay for Burncycle.
We were really excited about this
not
game.
The rule book for
yes, we were. I remember when we
and
signed up.
And that was on our original. We signed up for the original 15 thing, and that was like one of the only ones that we didn't lose out on. And so we were really excited about it, but it was just too much. It almost felt like, and I'm not saying that GenCon should do this because I think it would be horrible, but it was almost like in that 2-hour block should have been us attending like a presentation, a PowerPoint or something about how to play the game. And then we would have been able to enjoy our 2-hour sit down and play the game. Because to learn a game like
sap the fun all out.
Yeah, I know. Or maybe we should have maybe we should have done a bunch of research before.
It's not our job.
Oh,
and that's what it is. Learn to play.
I'm with you. It was a hype game. We were excited about it. I just think it came up short.
Because we did another game too that we're going to talk about a little later. It's like, okay, learn how to play. Well, you do this, now you do that, now you do that, and you do that, and we're like, what?
And I don't mind a game where things are preset for you to learn and stuff, but we're going to get.
I'm going to give that game 30 seconds, and I'm moving on.
Fair enough. My one quibble I have about Burncycle is I didn't care for the board. The board to me was very 1980s. It was very when you roll the move. It's a mechanic that I think is best lost to time. I got to roll to move my guy around, which means if I get a bad roll, my entire turn is shot, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. I didn't like the way the board was set up. I felt like the board was very reminiscent of a game called Safe Cracker, which the whole point is, or Safe Breaker. Break the safe? Something like that. Where you go and find a safe, but that's what it was like. I roll to move, I move my guy around the board. And stuff like that. It reminds me very much of Clue. It reminds me of Sorry. It reminds me of games like that.
Yeah, it did remind me a lot.
Even the
Clue.
board had some. It looked like elements of Clue. Like,
I'm
going to go to the observatory and do this. I'm going to go.
So they have beautiful pieces because Chip Theory does a good job with their pieces, and all of the. I'm sorry, what's the name of the mats?
Neoprene
mats. All neoprene mats are included in the retail box. They're all beautiful. It's waterproof. It's all this wonderful stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they got this box from 1970, or this board from 1974. It's like, come on, guys. The board was a straight up miss. The game, if I could pick it up for $50, I might try it, but at $150, that ain't happening.
Yeah,
that just ain't happening.
I'll even go so far as to say is, I'm not going to say the game was bad. It was too much for me. Yeah, so it was too much for me.
It could be great, but
I'm not going to find out at $150.
Yeah,
I'm not.
It might hit the table once or twice, and that's it. Then anyway.
And you see too many bonus boxes on the table. At $150, I have to be darn sure that I'm going to play this a lot. At $150,
yeah,
and Burncycle in there.
10-second snippet. Return to Dark Tower. I did the Kickstarter. Cost me $200. As soon as I got that game, I probably played it a dozen times that week.
Yeah.
So I would not play Burncycle.
Never brings it over. Anyway, moving on. Our last game of the evening was Karak. Karak.
Sure, it's not Karak.
I don't know. The best thing about this game was we played with this guy named Hank. Hank was a cool dude. The game to me was a miss. Standard dungeon crawler, nothing spectacular about it. It seemed to be half of what Tiny Epic Dungeons is. About half.
I'm actually drawing a blank.
I know, me too.
Why do you think that is?
I was waiting for you to talk. I'm like, I have no recollection.
And it was
of this game.
it was by Cosmos, which I have a lot of respect for Cosmos games. But it was really move, explore, room, fight the thing.
Oh, that's right. That was the one for like the water fountains, the healing fountains. Remember the one we were trying to get the axe? We were fighting over the axe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was we played with it was Hank from Michigan.
Shout out to Hank.
That's
Shout
right.
out to Hank.
Yeah, he was a really cool guy.
Hank made the game fun.
Yeah, he made the game fun.
Hank made the game fun. And again, that's true for most times. Most games are fun for the right people.
What was
that game? You're right. It was so simplistic.
It was simple. It was forgettable. Hank made it fun. What was funny about this one to me was the dude teaching the game literally put it on the table. He's like, "There you go." And we're like, "What the heck?" And Dave's like, "Well, I'll read the rules." And he's like,
"It was only a couple pages.
There's like 2 pages of rules." He's like, "Okay, I guess we'll just figure it out." And we did. But it was so forgettable, obviously.
No kidding. Wow.
And Cosmos is, like I said, it's a company I got a lot of respect for. I bought a lot of their games.
I have a lot of their products.
And it's another one where I was expecting, we're going to play this Cosmos game, we're going to race into the booth. No, it was a pass.
And the ending of this game, I think part of what we didn't like about how the game works is we were in this loop of we had to attack the bad guy. And the dragon was, at this level of power, and we were all like at maybe this level, so we could have, one particular die roll, but we just kept hitting it and then dying and hitting it and dying because it was a race to score that last few points.
I needed a perfect roll to hit it. I could only get up to 6.
Those were the 2 main problems I had with that game. At the end of the game, it literally came down to all 4 of us playing just who's going to get the lucky die roll.
Yeah.
There's no strategy. It's like who's going to roll the 12 or the 11, whatever they needed. And the second thing I really enjoy about that game is when I played a lot of dungeon crawlers, a lot. And this one felt like it was, I'm sorry, maybe this is a little too far. It felt like it was made by an 8-year-old. It's like,
it was made for an 8-year-old, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it's a good intro dungeon crawler.
No, maybe that's
to play Tiny Epic Dungeons.
No, yeah. I mean, I have 2 of the Dungeons and Dragons dungeon crawlers. I have Castle Ravenloft, and I have one with the red dragon on. I can't think of the name off.
A Dungeons and Dragons game with a red dragon on.
And then
narrowed it down.
And then we played Tiny Epic Dungeons, and I played several other dungeon crawlers. Maybe the game is designed maybe for
perhaps, but
under 10 years old. If you're under 10, they would enjoy it.
But I think Acropolis was probably could be enjoyed by someone younger than 10, and I had a blast with that. We'll get to it.
I don't think I wrote Acropolis down, so maybe we won't.
What?
Moving on!
Ironically, really, there's a game we played that was designed for kids, which was 10 times more fun than this Karak dungeon crawler.
Didn't like it. It was a pass. Hard pass. All right, Friday morning. The games we played on Friday were Battletech, Reconstruction, Lifeboats.
He meant to say Robotech.
Did I put down Battletech?
He meant to say Robotech.
Big robots with anime people.
That immensely popular cartoon, comic book, and graphic novel.
You can come after me. It's cool. Played Lifeboats.
Enjoyed by 2/3 of most people.
Played Winter Queen. I got a lot to say about that. Stop Thief. And then we played some Dungeons and Dragons Light.
No, it's Dungeon Crawl Classics. Crawl Classics.
Okay.
Yes.
We're going to come to that. I had a lot of fun with that, but let's talk about Robotech, and then we'll talk about Battletech.
I had to do a double take because on your notes it looked like you wrote down Baywatch. I'm like, what?
Baywatch the game.
Like, what's Baywatch? It's Battletech. You meant Robotech.
I can't imagine the horror. All right.
Horror?
So Robotech Reconstruction. One of the co-designers was helping us out. His name was Austin, and the other player was Brian. Now, when we sat down to play this game, let's just say I was less than enthusiastic. But then Brian came in, and this guy was like, he was another player, but he was like the lore dude. He was super into Robotech.
Encyclopedia of Robotech.
He knew all there was to know, and he started filling us in on different things, and it made it more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I was after the game. I'm like, I gotta find this Robotech on streaming somewhere so I can.
You wanted to watch it. I didn't want to play the game ever again, but if I want to watch. No, I didn't think it was a bad game. It wasn't for me, and here's some of the things I liked about it. You were playing as 4 different factions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the factions is sort of a quasi-ally. They're someone who works with you, but they have their own agendas and their own victory conditions. And everybody's working towards something different. That was cool about it. I like games like that when we're all competing, but everybody are all competing and everybody's looking to do something a little bit different. I ended up winning this one, but it wasn't because I had some sort of grand strategy or something. I think we just all kind of stumbled into what we were doing, and then, hey, look at that, I'm ahead.
Did you end up winning that one? Did we play a complete game?
We played a whole game, and I won. My victory condition was to get to 5 super happy citizens.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
When I got to 5, I knew everyone was going to plot against me, and you should. I knew everybody was going to plot against me, so I buried the needle. I got it up to like 9 or something, and Dave managed to get me all the way back down to 5, but I still won.
In general, I just don't like the cooperative element in a competitive game. It doesn't make sense to me because, look, I know, why would I help you? I'm trying to beat you. Yeah. And why would you help me? Because you're trying to beat me.
Because helping you helps me. And that was the thing. I was compelled to help you.
I guess in that game, it's sort of like, you're sort of...
Jason and I were quasi-allies. Dave was the evil one.
You say quasi? No, it was forced cooperation. If you two did not work together, neither of you had a chance of winning.
That's true.
So it was forced. You had to work together because if you went against each other, your games would have been completely disastrous.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't a big fan of that. That if we're all playing competitively, but you're forcing these 2 factions to work together, then really it's cooperative.
Well, it should be an Axis and Allies then, where you get this group against this group.
We don't got that kind of time.
Now, when we signed up for different events, this is one I was excited for. This is actually one of the ones we actually made also.
Robotech?
Yeah, because I was a big fan of the cartoon back in the 1980s. So they had a big, matter of fact, if you look at our list on Friday, there's a lot of nostalgia going on there.
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
And this was going to bring back some nostalgia because I was a huge
fan
of
it. And the theme.
Positively, whoever designed the game did a fantastic job of bringing you into the Robotech world. Because it brought back a lot of memories. I knew the story. I knew the characters. I knew what each group was trying to accomplish. I remembered it all. And then the gameplay was meh.
It was okay.
I think the gameplay would have been more fun if I would have been familiar with the anime, though.
It did help, but again, I did not like the aspect that I was forced to work with this group. I had no choice. If I didn't work with this group, I don't have a chance of winning.
Another problem for me with themed games like this is a Robotech game. If you are not a Robotech person, you're never playing this game. You're not going to pick it up off the shelf. It's not going to interest you. And even if you got it out, and so I'm cutting out 90% of the gamers right there. Cutting out so many people. If it were something else that wasn't Robotech, I just wasn't picking up on the Robotech theme. No, I'm not a Robotech guy.
Well, that's the thing, though.
But
if you
I wasn't into it.
Generic robot battle, nobody's going to look at it twice, let alone somebody who's a fan of Robotech.
But that's another thing too. One thing I really did like about this, I'm glad you brought up the battle portion. The combat in this is so simple. I have this many guys, you lose that many guys, and that's it. Some games can bog down because of terrible combat rules. There might be one on this list somewhere. This wasn't one of them. The combat worked very well.
Yeah,
and this game could bog badly, and it doesn't.
I will give the game credit. The rules were straightforward and simple enough that I never felt like I was completely lost. Like I have no idea what I'm doing. I really felt okay. I can do this and the other thing, but in reality, I didn't. I'm forced to work with this guy, or I don't have a chance, and it didn't.
Yeah, and if they're going to quasi force you, like I said, they should just make it, 2 versus 2.
Yeah,
that's the game.
Yeah. Okay, moving on from that.
What they could
do?
No,
not moving on.
What they could do is that, if it's us against the other 2 factions, we have our individual win conditions, but we have to satisfy both of them. For us to
right, something, but
that'd be.
Unfortunately, the game's already in production, so they're not going back and changing the rules.
Well, I ain't buying it, so.
Yeah, that didn't come home with the call, that's for sure.
No.
You left a couple games on we played on.
I did not.
Yeah, you did.
I did not.
We haven't finished yet.
I know one.
What one?
I know just one for sure.
Which one?
Okay. Just one. I think this one was on Saturday. No, nothing was on Saturday. I may have missed some things on my notes, but you know who didn't take notes? So
he's got it all right up there.
It's in your brain, but you don't remember the Karak game.
That's because my brain chose not to. Delete.
Delete it.
Get it out.
All right. So the next game up was Lifeboats. Now,
Lifeboats.
Lifeboats. Now,
yeah, you don't want to get a copyright lawsuit here.
I'm going to steal the first comment on this one again, and it's because I had read an article a year or two ago when we were going on our gaming weekend, and it was like the top 20 games that make you want to kill your friends. And I'm like, well, I got to play these games. There's nothing like really ratcheting up the aggression at the gaming weekend. And number one was Lifeboats. And it was all about, you got your little guys on lifeboats, you boat people off, you throw them in the ocean, and off you go. This is what I thought we were signing up for. This was not that.
Yes, we had a discussion with the game designer. It's like, because you were saying, "Oh, this is Lifeboats, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's a boats of life." You're like, no, Lifeboat, and it was like close, but not quite.
And he was talking about
this was a different game.
And he's talking about some 2011 version. Meanwhile, I look it up on Board Game Geek. I'm like, that one right there. Oh no, it's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's a German game. Make like rowing your boat, or every man for himself is the name of the game.
So we signed up for. Jason was really, really excited about this game, and this was not the game.
This was not it. Now, what it was though was everyone's a character on the lifeboat. Different positions on the lifeboat have different jobs. It was okay. That's the best thing I can put. I like the guy who ran. His name was Jeff. He did a good job walking us through his vision because this is going on Kickstarter.
Well, it's his game.
It's his game, but he did a good job with it. Mm-hmm. You know, some people...
He actually knew the rules.
Some people, Robotech guy, didn't do a good job walking us through his vision. But this guy did a good job walking us through his vision, and I liked it. But that being said, I was my special power was I was the big guy. You know, I was the big guy. That was it. Everybody else had special abilities. My guy was had the most HP. And so I was pushing people around. And everybody teamed up on me. And, you know, it's just one of those games where you can do that. And I think a game where you can do that, the mechanic becomes a little bit...
Well, I think Jeff was okay, but I think Jeff was a little bit... He was too invested in the game to play it. And when he got in the game, he was trying to win. And he saw Jay doing what he was doing, and then he was really orchestrating everyone. Like, well, we have to, beat up on this guy, and he was trying to manipulate us, to how he thought we should have been playing, and I think so he could win because he got kind of upset when everyone was ganging up on him.
Yeah, everybody ganged up on him, and he's like, "Why are y'all ganging up on me?
Oh, this isn't fair at all." Like, no.
What I was going to say about Jeff is that it felt like he not only was he manipulating the game, he was almost running each person's character role. Well, if I were you, I would do this. If I were you, I would do that. I'm like, okay, well then here, just tell me what to do. It looked like it could be a fun game. It depends on the price point. Again, Kickstarters tend to be moving up in price quite a bit.
To me, this is a $10 card game.
And you know what? It'd probably be, unfortunately, it's going to be MSRP probably about $30. Probably, and that's the sad part.
Probably, and that's going to be way out of the... But it's a simple card game like The Mind or Coup or one of those where I should be able to pick up a little box for $9.99. Mm-hmm. I don't got to sleeve it because if I destroy it, I can just go buy it.
I think the game would have been more fun if there was more people playing. Because possibly. How many was us with him playing? It was 4 of us?
No, there were 5.
Actually, Martin was there.
Martin popped back up.
Yeah, so but this game had a lot more characters, and I think if there was more characters there, it would have been more fun.
Now, you ended up winning that one, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did.
And because you had you won based on like you had jewels or something. Yeah. That's where you got a lot of your
And I saw it coming, and I tried to stop you, and Jeff kept orchestrating people to keep me from stopping you. It's like, no, he's going to win. Let's stop him. No.
But I wasn't as close as you thought I was.
Did you win?
By
then I was right.
Much. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Winter Queen.
This was a walk-up. We didn't sign up for this one. We were just walking around, and we saw the game, and we're like, "Hey, we got we're resting for a second. Let's play this game." And it looked kind of like a Frozen type.
Oh, definitely.
I thought it was Disney's Frozen the game, but it could have been.
Probably was at some point. Our helper there was Kim, and Kim was incredibly nice. She's a very nice lady, and Kim did not know the rules. She was great. I liked her so much. And she was poorly informed on the rules.
I would equate her to, again, that idea she was one chapter ahead of us. That's about where she was.
Well, no, she might have been one chapter behind us because we're like reading the card, and her interpretation of the rules was like it wasn't even an interpretation thing. It was literally the language on the card was different from what
she said. That's what the guy who taught her how to play the game. That's what he said.
I promise you, it's not what he said.
Yeah, it was a simplistic. Pick up a card, play some crystals, gain some power, score some points, and hope you know what the hell you're doing. Because
you had these pockets of crystals, and each turn you'd pick up a crystal and you try to put them in patterns to score points.
Here's how you know the game was incomprehensible. Jason won easily.
You beat me to it. I just wanted to say that. I crushed him. You know why? Because I found the flaw. I found the flaw in the game, and Dave and I were both just cranking that flaw. Yeah,
taking misinterpretation,
taking full advantage. Yeah,
and I got wailed on.
Because he was scoring his points like 2-3 at a time.
Yeah.
And Dave and I are scoring points 16 at a time because of his bad rules.
The maximum on every card is 5 points. Oh. Except for the one you guys found, which for some reason is 16 points. So it's like, this must be wrong. Oh no.
Yep.
16. I got 10.
I played the game wrong. I exploited the misinterpretation of the rules, and I had a blast. That was so fun.
If only people didn't exploit rules. We'll get to that on Sunday.
Hey, the rules as explained I was following as they were explained.
Shout out to Kim. Don't buy this game.
Yeah, Kim was awesome. I liked Kim so much. I did not know.
But I think that if we were playing correctly, and if Dave and I weren't exploiting this weakness, I mean, it'd be a good family game, I think.
I would still say Kim was awesome. Don't buy the game.
I think there's much better games out there for
games like that. To me,
just one.
Look, if you have a daughter who's into princesses,
it had nothing to do with princesses. It was just plastic crystals.
Oh, there's a princess on the box.
You know what this game reminded me of? This is in the same family as Azul. And Azul is infinitely better.
That's disrespectful to Azul.
Right. Yes, it is. Its existence is disrespectful to the genre of, our next game was Stop Thief, the modernized version.
Okay.
Skipping my game.
Oh,
we'll come back to it. Stop Thief, the modern version.
I'm glad you said the modern version because it was listed as original.
It said the classic.
The first edition.
Tell me, we're going down nostalgia lane here.
Yes.
So I remember playing that game when I was, way back in the day, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome! I can't wait to hear the little 8-bit, bloop bloop guy walking around. It was the new edition.
Yeah, app driven, completely app driven.
Yep. Now the guy who helped us name was Harrison, and he kept talking about his hot cougar wife.
No, he was the guy that played with us.
No, Harrison was the guy who...
He was the helper guy.
He was?
The 3 games at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That was Matt that was playing.
Matt was
playing with us. Harrison did his job. He did it well, but this is a game that requires no teacher. The app was our friend there. I'm not going to use my thoughts first this time. I'm going to let one of you guys go. I've been talking a lot, so go ahead.
You talk a lot?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Honestly, I'm going to keep this really simple. I enjoyed it. I think they did a great job reinventing the game so that it feels fresh and brand new because I played it back when I was in the 80s when I was a kid, not in 1974. And if you have children, I think anywhere from the ages of 8 to 12, go get this game. They will absolutely love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. Because the other game we referenced as the Karak, I think they may have designed that game for kids. Boring.
But I don't think that this game was just for kids. I mean, I think adults would enjoy it. I enjoyed it.
As a dad, I would love playing this with my kids. I would not sit down with a group of adults and play this. We beat the game in like 4 turns.
Record time. It wasn't close.
It was, and that's okay because it's not designed for adults. It's designed for kids. We beat that game.
But I'm sure that we were playing. I think that the co-op version only has 1 level of easy. I think if we played competitive, it would be.
It might have been different, but this was so easy.
Yeah, I guess it was
so easy.
It's designed for kids.
To spell it out, what you got is not just one thief. There's a group of thieves, and when you capture a thief, the other thieves don't move. They're in the same spot.
No, they do two
Well,
secret
they
moves.
do two secret moves, but they're in the same general area.
2 spaces from where they started. So it's like...
And so we've already got this area surrounded because the guy's in there, and he's still in there, and he's still in there, and he's still in there. Oh, he got on the street, got him. Okay, he's still around there. It was just, if they would have randomized the placements, but then it would have been like 8 games in a row. I don't know how you make it better with that concept.
I think that's why it's designed for kids.
But I think that it was good that they didn't.
You're probably right.
They didn't change it too much. That was very, very true to the original game. So if your old Stop Thief is broken and ripped up, but you really want to play it, but get this one because it'll be the same.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed honestly, it. If it was out right now, I'd play it again because we would play in probably 20, 30 minutes and be done. But it's fun. It's a fun game. It's really simple, but it's designed for kids. But if you have a young children or even teenagers, I think you can get this game and they would enjoy it.
It was a lot of fun. I would also say this, though. Here's something that confused me about this game. So we're playing here, and there's 2 other games going. And we wrap ours up in like record time. The Elliot Ness of the Stop Thief game.
Right.
And the people next to us are like, we lost. How?
Yeah, I did the old double take.
Yeah, it was...
Really?
How?
Maybe we just had a really, really good RNG for this one.
No.
Oh, come on. Those people couldn't have been that horrible.
Yes. It was that easy. It was just easy.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. But I mean, those guys, they could have, they kept staying in the one area, the one quadrant of the board. But they just as easily, when they hopped on the subway, instead of going back to the same place, they could have went on the other side of the board.
But you see, there was another problem with the game. When they got on the subway, what's the first thing we did? Use a clue. Why? Because the 4 subway stations are all uniquely numbered. So we knew exactly where they went
6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. That was it.
Yeah,
you knew exactly where they were.
I don't remember the clue from the original game, or at least if there was, it wasn't that specific, telling you exactly what quadrant.
I'm sure they were really nice people, but to quote Caddyshack, the world needs ditch diggers too. So,
all right, moving on from that, let's talk about just one.
Can we talk about all?
Huh? No, just one.
Oh.
Just one. And while we're at it, we might as well talk about Clover, because I think we played them relatively close to one another.
Well, one was actually, ironically, one was Friday, one was Saturday.
Okay, we'll talk about both since we're here.
I'm going to jump in really quick. I was given, God bless my wife, I was given special instructions. Don't just buy games for you like.
Buy games that Jason's like.
And I knew exactly what she meant, because she likes games, but she doesn't. She will play these games over and over. She'll play Azul. She'll play Splendor. But she's not going to touch a Twilight Imperium. She's not going to touch a Mage Knight. But so I purposely look for good family fun games that we could play in 30 minutes or less. And I think both of these, I know I'm probably biased because I bought them, but I think both of these are home runs.
They're very good. I really enjoyed it. Clover was fun. You have to write it. You need four tabs essentially, have words on them, and then you write clues for those tabs, and you can rotate them to line them up. That's where Lightning Snake came from. Lightning Snake.
Does he have to match up?
Not Slaw Juice.
Lightning Snake, which of course is code for a charger, but it's the best I can come up with on that. These games are fun. They're simple. They're easy. They're a lot of fun, and they're challenging enough that they're infinitely replayable. There's so many different clues in here.
So on that one, it was like you had to find there was words on the outside, and you had to find 2 words on the inside that matched this outside word, and then this square and this square have to match just one outside word. And so you're,
yeah, you're absolutely right. And that was the thing. I enjoyed it so much that we got home.
They ran over and bought it.
No, we got home from GenCon, say almost like 9:30 at night, and I taught my entire family how to play both these games.
Woke everybody up
in like 10 minutes. But yeah, you see,
Dad again.
Each of these have like 4 words on it. You got to match them up to try and make a clue, and that's where the Lightning Snake comes from. And you had phone charger.
So you do all 4. It's a Clover. You do all 4 sides, and then you throw in a 5th one when you give it to people to figure it out. Yeah,
and it's completely cooperative. So you're all working together trying to solve the clues.
It's a party game.
It's a party game.
Pictionary or something, yeah.
But I was just playing my daughter, my wife, and myself, and we were laughing the entire time. We really, really enjoyed it. I was a big fan. Big fan.
Out of all the games we played, these are the two that I talk to my wife the most about because I know she'll enjoy them as well. I like them very much.
Yeah, Just One is a little different. That's the one where, again, it's completely cooperative. You can play in teams or as a total group, and the guesser chooses randomly on a card blind, 1 through 5, and it's some random word. And then the clue givers all have to write down one word on their board to help people try and guess the word.
Yep.
And
I'll put this up. People can see that, sort of like, oops.
the trick there is...
You're messing me up. You're messing me up.
Sorry.
If the word, say, was light bulb, and two people, as their clue, both wrote down electricity, that clue's thrown out.
Yeah.
So any clues that match are thrown out, so you're left with whatever words are...
The obscure ones.
Obscure.
So then you find yourself coming up, that's the perfect word, but someone else is going to get it, so I can't use that word.
I remember one of our clues was the word was limb.
Yeah.
Limb. And so we're all thinking, at least I was thinking, okay, I can't go with arm.
Nope.
I can't go with leg because somebody else is going to do it and those are going to be erased. So I came up with appendage. I had appendage.
I wrote appendage.
Somebody else had appendage. And the only guy that was left was the guy who wrote branch.
Yeah.
And so it was you that was trying to guess.
I'm like, hey, branch will match well with tree.
Right. It's like, it's all he had left because the rest of us all got wiped out with appendage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun game. It's a lot of fun.
Again, simple.
You know what? I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a second.
No.
But this Just One, it reminds me of when our son was growing up. When his first introductions to candy were like M&Ms, and every time you put a bunch of M&Ms in front of a 3-year-old or whatever, he was like, wow. So every time we did it, it was like, only one. So every time we get it to him, it's only one. So eventually he'd be like, Daddy, can I have an only one?
There you go.
There you go.
So yeah, I thought about that one. Now this one, Just One.
If you're looking for good party games,
I normally don't like large party games. These are winners.
Did you say who we played this one with?
No, because I can't remember their names.
We played
young man.
Yeah, we played this with a young couple that were dating, and they just were sort of, we went up. There was a group that was standing by the game when we came up, and we're kind of like, oh, hey, you guys playing the game, and they're just kind of like,
no, we're just
It was long.
And so then we're kind of looking. We were just about to start, and they came up and they asked to play.
Like, hey, can we play with you?
Yeah, we had a blast, and we
had so much fun.
Yes,
so much fun. Nice people, nice young couple.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on from that.
And I guess what's interesting about that is that you can play with strangers and still have a lot of fun.
Every time I say moving on from that,
I know.
You got to empty your thought bucket.
I have just one more comment.
It's always just one more. And then, the next one on our list is a game that nobody plays as a group. It was Dungeons and Dragons.
Sure.
Dave, take it away.
No, it was Dungeon Crawl Classics. And I want to emphasize that because when I signed us up for this, it said Dungeons and Dragons First Edition.
Right.
Yes,
so
but it was not.
No.
To try to summarize it, as my understanding, I've never been a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, just because I've never had the opportunity. But as I understand it, this is really what we did was basically just straight up Dungeons and Dragons combat, and it was a light version of it at that. That was my understanding. There was no problem solving. Nope. There was no work this out with your mind or with your tricks or with your just guile. It was straightforward smash, roll the best you can. And like I said, it was a light version of Dungeons & Dragons combat at that. Now, all that being said, I had a lot of fun playing it.
I had a blast. This was our nostalgia. We just wanted to play a first edition Dungeons & Dragons, like the old player handbook and you roll for charisma type stuff.
Yeah, you see, that was the thing. When one of the things we tried to sign up for was, I'm going to get really deep in the nerdum here.
Nerd out.
It was the G1 module against the Giants. It was studying the Hill Giant. I really, really wanted to play that because it was one of my favorite modules growing up as a kid, and we totally got no chance of getting into that. So I went searching for anything, and I found this. I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. And I'm like, darn it, I thought it was going to be D&D. But when we started playing, if you like the hack and slash aspect of D&D, you would have loved this.
Now, when we started, the guy handed out 20 characters. They're just on little cards. They're all level 1. And it was the townspeople.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a laugh riot. Dave had like a potato farmer with a pitchfork. It was hilarious. You had like a rutabaga farmer.
Rutabaga farmer.
I had two. Oh, geez, I can't remember what they were.
And I had the beggar.
Yeah.
I had the beggar, so every time I rolled, I could be like, please, please, please get into it.
Yeah. I think you should have got bonus points.
The guy who takes care of horses at the end.
I had the ostler. The ostler. Right. You know,
and then Matt, our companion, had a bunch of dwarves and elves that he was just feeding to the fire.
He had like 3 archers that couldn't hit anything. Poor guy. But it was just a lot of fun. And our dungeon master, his name was James from Goodman Games.
Great guy.
Great guy. Great at his job. I think he had as much fun as we did. He enjoyed slaughtering all guys, but it was funny. He gave us 20 guys. Don't get used to them. They're going to die.
Don't get attached to these guys.
And I think, like, just running through the door, we lost like 6 guys out of 20, you know. And then there was a food tornado that we had to fight that murdered all of our guys.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was tournament style. I don't know what the scoring was based on, but in our group, we finished in second, which wasn't good enough to make it to the final. You needed to finish in first. Right. We finished in second.
Which was kind of unfortunate because there were some groups where, you know, everyone in that group did better than us. But unfortunately, you know, in the overall standings, you know, we did better.
Yeah, there was one group that it was like 6 teams and 4 of them did better than we did.
Right.
But you know what? I just had a blast. I had so much fun.
And this was, we were about on the 20-yard line of
Lucas Oil
Stadium. So that was
which was cool in and of itself, you know. It was just a lot of fun. I know it didn't hit what you wanted it to do, but I hope you had a good time.
No, I had a blast. I had fun. No, it definitely wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, because a lot of people love the combat part of D&D, and I don't blame them. But it felt a little repetitive. Okay, that was my only complaint. It felt like a video game. Oh, go in the room, kill the monster. Okay. Go in the room, kill the monster. Okay. Go in the room and kill the monster. It was like, okay, it just like, I get it, but it was fine. Because that was the point. Just run in there, get in the room and kill a monster.
Yeah, and it really was the whole point. Because when we got down to the end even, we were like trying to look for a way out, a way to reason our way out of what we were doing. And there was nothing. And so I was just like, okay, I got to attack the big amorphous
I was going to say, a giant blob of candle men, wax men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is there a way around them? No.
I was looking for a Batman utility belt.
Can I cut my way through them? No. Okay.
Well, just taking shots.
I stab with my pitchfork for the potato farmer.
Yeah, potato farmer. That guy lived to the end. Good for him.
And then, of course, at the end, we fly away on some purple hippie van.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was...
Yeah, Doc Brown's hippie nephew comes by in his purple van and come with me.
For 3 hours, it was fun. It was. I don't know if I do it again, but it was definitely fun that one.
Yeah. But unfortunately, my drawback on it was it's tournament style. So I said, hey, what are the prizes? Oh, well, they write your name on this wall. Cool.
Yeah. Might as well have a firm handshake and a slap on the back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You get a high five and a firm embrace.